Hello and welcome back to the Big East Rewind. I am your host from Villanova, Chuck Everson, and my partner, as always, full from a Thanksgiving feast, my main man, Dr. Sonny Sparrow. How are you, Sonny?
I'm great, Chuck, and you betcha, boy. I ate for a good 2 hours yesterday.
You ate like you're going to the electric chair, as Coach
Like I'm
Mack
going
said,
to the
right?
electric chairs, right,
That's
man?
it. That's it. Well, listen, we have a great show in store today, on our Sirius XM app and
Got
YouTube.
one of our favorites, man.
Got to make sure we say that, of course.
That's right.
Yeah, one of our favorite guys, and again, this was one of those guys, Sonny, that we couldn't. We tried to get him for a year and a half. People were begging us to get three or four guys, and one of them, it was in no particular order. It was Walter Berry,
Yep.
John Pannone, Chris Mullen, and this guy. And we so far we're batting 750.
Yeah.
We have not seen hide nor hair of Chris.
Hey, we're
I've had
Hall of Famers.
relatives call him. I've had everybody call him.
Hey,
So
it's 750. We're Hall of Famers.
that's pretty good. If we were baseball players, we'd be, MVP numbers, Sonny.
We
MVP.
own Cooperstown. You kidding me?
Being Cooperstown. That's right. So without any further ado, again, he's a two-timer on this show. That's the first thing. Before you introduce him and give all his accolades, he's a two-timer on the Big East Rewind, Sonny.
That's
It's something to
that's.
talk about, really. I mean,
I think he's going to change his license plate two
he
times.
might have to change two-timer. That's right.
People pull him over in the street.
A Seton Hall Basketball Hall of Famer. He was the 1982 Big East Player of the Year. And now he's joining the Seton Hall Legends Club, Sonny. He's
Yep, that's a
probably the
big deal.
greatest player ever to wear a Seton Hall Pirate basketball uniform. The great Danny Callandrillo is joining us. How are you, Dan?
Thanks. You're too kind, Chuck. I'll pick up the next dinner bill. All right.
You got it. I'm going to hold you to that. That's good.
That's a
You
yes.
know, if that's all I have to do, Danny, are you kidding me? That's
Hey,
pretty
come
good.
on next week, Danny.
Son, it's funny because we've been doing this labor of love now for 4 years, and we've got 100 and I don't know 37 shows, whatever it is, right?
Yep.
The relationships that we've built through this show have been hilarious. Like really have never met Danny until we did the first show, and now we talk all the time, and we've been out socially several times. We've been to games together. It's been great. I mean, and we go see the Pirate games, or I'll get them to a Nova game this year. I kind of owe them a game, so we'll have some fun, and it's been great hanging out with you, Dan. It really has. So I appreciate that.
Likewise.
So I will take you up for sure on the dinner. Thanks. There's no problem.
I don't know if I can afford the way you eat. Forget it.
That's it. I know. That seems to be the issue right now. So, you know what, Danny, I have to tell you though, the camera adds 10 pounds. So, they told me to remove two cameras and I could lose 20 pounds. So there it is. So anyway, so Dan, let's talk a little bit about the current state of affairs at Seton Hall before we get into your stuff, right? So what do you think? I mean, have you been to many games this year? It's the
Yeah,
end of the season. We're only probably 7 or 8 games in, right? Have you seen them play live?
yeah. I went to Bruce Center in the beginning. I'm going today, actually. I have a sixth grade team. I'm taking them. But for Shaheen, we kind of talked briefly yesterday. But I like every coach in the nation. I mean, every year you get new players. And
Yeah.
I think for him, his style of just being tough and being committed and dedicated. I don't know. I think we all were like that when we were in college, but I think now is a different time.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's funny because I was looking some stuff up, and I looked at the roster, and just for fun, I just pulled up every kid's bio, and like 8 kids or 9 kids played at a different place. Like some of them played. This is their third school, which is when we played, it's unheard of to see that, right?
Well, I think it's when we were in school, like you're committed, you're dedicated, you're trying to get your education, you're playing great basketball, you get to know your coach, you have lifelong relationships. Like I know you with Raleigh, me with Raf, but these kids, everything is, I guess, the chasing the money, and maybe they're not committed to a national championship. I don't know. I haven't met all the kids. I know a couple of them on Seton Hall. That they are good kids, but you got to remember they're not 18 years old. These guys are 24, 25 years old.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
you're talking to a man. You're not talking to a kid out of high school.
Yeah.
And you're dealing with certain habits that already exist.
Yeah. I think it's tough. Like, I know Shaheen, I know his mentality, and everybody loves him. I know the school loves him, but he's so committed that it's tough to get somebody that went to a different school that wasn't that kind of, the training wasn't like mandatory, and then you go to Seton Hall where they're all in. You're either in or you're out.
Right.
So it probably looks the same as Villanova, but I see the frustration on him. You got a kid for a month, and you're training them, and they don't know your style, you don't know their style. It's tough.
Yeah, and the way he played too as a player, he was that way as a player. I mean, he was aggressive, he was in your face, he was tenacious, he was all of that. And when you don't see those characteristics from your team, because you got all new guys that, like Sonny said, may have bad habits or may have done things differently, it's got to be frustrating as hell. Plus, add to that arguably their best player last year jumped ship and went across the Hudson and went to St. John's. I mean, that's got to be. I mean, I don't know. Back in the day, we weren't allowed to do that. I mean, that wasn't looked upon too well. Now it's kind of the Wild West with some of this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think for him, I found out that a little bit. It was a little deeper. I guess there was a lot of money involved, which you can't blame a kid. I guess.
Yeah.
But I if this is the landscape, it's going to be tough for a lot of schools. Even look at the UConn, lost 3 in a row. I mean,
yeah,
you get that, you finally get the way Mass was a coach in RAF, and after a year or two, you figure it out, and everybody is on, everybody's rowing in the same direction. And then, every year it's just new players. It's tough.
He talked about that. He talked about that, getting some of these guys, and he says they have to understand and know me, and it has to be a good fit. And he felt pretty confident, though, that he had some pretty good guys, but it was going to be a work in progress, especially during this early preseason stuff, So
yeah, I think before the Big East, if you can figure it out, be 500, 6-4 or whatever, first 10 games, it's 10 games. Either way you look at it.
Right.
Chemistry, who's hurt, who's coming back. Like, they got Coleman back now. They had a big wing down in South Carolina, down in Charleston, but he's the kind of guy, I think he'll figure it out. And once these kids see the commitment of your coach, like we did, I think they'll be okay.
Right. I have a lot of confidence that that'll happen. I really do. Especially after talking to him. He pretty much said it's going to be rocky beginning because I've only got these guys for a month or so, and then we're rolling into it. But we'll get it together, and they will. They'll get stronger through the year.
Yeah, you see it in pro sports too. Jets, Giants. I mean, you can't even talk about it. But
look at the Knicks.
Yeah.
They're going to figure it out. They were slow a little, won a little.
Yeah.
It's like in every sport. But I think for Seton Hall now, winning the NIT last year, 25 wins, it's kind of the bar's raised here.
Right.
And he's kind of guy you don't have to tell. He knows. Trust me, he knows.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at it, and they haven't gotten blown out of any game. I mean, it's kind of been, pretty close, the scores. And it looks more like they don't have their chemistry yet, you know what I mean? Because there's so many new guys more than anything else. And it bothers me, and I'm sure it bothers you, Danny. If you look at the standings today in the Big East Conference, our teams are the bottom and the second to the bottom right now. Villanova just got to 500. And I think the Hall is 4-3 or something like that. But you look at it and you go, okay. Now, the problem with that is with the chemistry taking a time to kind of cook a little bit. Now you get into a situation like they got last year, and you got 25 wins last year. Not to say they go on a run and now they lost these games early. Does that go against them when they get to get picked for March Madness. You don't know. Some of these losses early might hurt them.
Yeah, I mean, I follow Notre Dame football pretty heavily, and they lost to Northern Illinois, then they won 9 in a row. If you recover like that, I think it's fine. But if you don't recover, and I think he will. I think David Gabriel's on the team. He's from my high school, and he fills me in about the mentality, what they're doing. And he's like, they're all in. They're all good guys. It's just a matter like who's your go-to guy. I think they got to figure that out.
That's what we're seeing at Syracuse. I'll be honest with you. I mean, we were 3-0, but we beat 3 teams that we normally beat by 20 plus, double overtime, and 3 points and 2 points, right? So that's your 3-0 record. Then they drop 2 in the city, and there's a ton of new guys, which is unusual. So they're not used to it. New coach, and they're figuring out a lot of things. And I think that you make a good point. They're 10 games. I think when you get into your conference play, it's huge. How tough and how many challenges did you have that figures out like who's our guy, like you said, right? That's how you figure it out, in my opinion. You got to be a little battle tested.
I agree.
It's funny how it works out, guys, because you got a team like DePaul right now. It's got a brand new coaching staff, so everybo's new there. And they got 14 new players. 14 new players, and guess what? They're 7-0. So they went, and I don't think they won 7 games in 2 seasons combined. They're 7-0, and I'm not. Listen, everybody played. What was shocking for me as a former player, Dan, was you look at the preseason schedule when it came out, and okay, let's see who we're playing. Are we playing Carolina? Are we playing Duke? No, we're playing New Jersey Institute of Technology. We're playing Rider. No offense to them, but that's not what I'm used to seeing on the pregame schedule. I mean, and it's not just Villanova. It's all the Big East teams played a little bit of a softer schedule to kind of, for exactly the reason of what we're talking about, is to get that chemistry working together before you get into the deep waters of the Big East Conference, right?
Yeah, I think, the beginning, it seems to me like you're doing a lot of drills, you're getting new people in, figuring out who's who, what's your rotation. And I know Shaheen pretty well, and I know he's working on who's in, who's out, who's the first guy off the bench, who's the first guy out. And like you say, like Sonny said, I think it's like 10 games, and then you're in the fire. You go right into the Big East, which is going to be tough this year. So I got to tell you, man, he's a really good coach, a good person. The school's behind him, which is good. He's got that support. So I think he's going to be fine.
You won't meet a more committed coach. You just won't.
Oh, he was fantastic. He hung with us for an hour and a half. We talked with him, Dan. He was awesome. I mean, he got into things that I don't think he thought he was going to get into when he spoke with us, and we had a really good conversation with him for sure.
Yeah, the passion. He's passionate on every level.
Yeah, well, he's got to get the players that kind of emulate him.
Yeah, exactly. So, other than UConn, who do you like in the Big East this year? Who you've seen some games now. Who do you think is gonna make some noise?
Marquette looks good.
They look good.
Yeah, I mean, St. John's on paper, everybody's raving about how great they could be. But again, if a Pitino, a great coach, right, Rick? We all know Rick. It's how do you mesh all-stars on a team where who's getting the ball? You know what I mean? Yeah. My generation, I just like I'm taking the ball and I'm shooting it. That's the way it goes. If there was another
give and go rebound.
If there was 2 other guys, I could have had a problem. But
I got to tell you, Danny, based on that whole, I don't mean to cut you off, but Clyde Vaughn had the greatest line of anybody that we've ever had on the show, based on your comment just now. He said, give me the ball and you can go get you an assist, but I score the points on this team. Does that sound familiar to you at all, buddy?
Well, I only knew one. Raf used to say to me, you can't take every shot. I go, Coach, I'm going to try. Trust me. But, I was into analytics back then, which people used to laugh at me because I broke down my game, where I should shoot, blah, blah, blah. And he used to go nuts at me when Hottie took over my senior year, he was like, dude, just do the right thing. If you have it, take it. The guy's open. And that year we started like 14-1. We were on a
Yeah.
roll, and then the whole grade situation. But yeah, and look, I played in Europe. I played with some great players, and I kind of, if you were that good, I gave you the ball. I was okay with it.
Wow. Yeah. So when going back, let's go back there now. We mentioned Raf. Okay. Raf told us we were at the Big East Media Day, and Raf is full of stories, and we got on him. Sonny and I got on him immediately because, I said, hey, when are we going to dinner? Now, here we go back with the dinner thing again, Danny. I said, you're supposed to be coming out. Danny tells me you're coming out. When are you coming? When are you? So he goes into a story. You gotta tell this story that he told us. You had to take a language class, and you asked if you can take sign language as a class. And because most people don't know, both your parents were deaf, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So take the story from there.
Well, what happened was, Raf, like, I guess like a lot of coaches, like Raf was
Basically, like Raf was kind of what would you call now, like a person that monitors your classes and your grades, and not a sports information director, but more of a kind of, I don't know, a person that's like taking care of the grades. You got to project, blah blah blah. So I don't know, for some reason he always used to take me in the last one. All right, Callandrillo, come in. And he's like, look, I was a C. I probably could have been a B. Basketball was my life. Anyway, so he goes, look, just take anything. Take sign language, take it. So I did. I went into the professor. I hate to say it. It sounds bad. But I said, when is the final? And she's like, Danny, I know you play ball, blah, blah, blah. I said, look, this time we win the finals. So it was Saturday morning. And, college, Friday night's a big night. And I went Saturday, and I'm in the back thinking, hopefully, maybe she doesn't see me. It's like, Callandrillo, come up. I go, okay. She was like a young professor. So she's like, read this couple paragraphs, this book on whatever. So I get up there and I put the book down. Back then, sign language was kind of turning. So I was Italian anyway, but I used my hands a lot anyway. And I took some words that I didn't have to say because everything was a shortcut. So I go to my little spiel, and she's like, outside. So I go outside. She's like, where'd you learn that? I said, well, both my parents were deaf, and my whole family, we all signed. She's like, look, I'll give you an A, but the next semester you got to help me come every Saturday, which I did. So then, fast forward, I thought Raf would forget about it. And then, January calls me and starts screaming at me. You took sign language. I heard you never went, blah, blah, blah. I go, what was my grade? You got an A. I said, Coach, I got an A. You told me to take anything, and I took sign language. Dude, he used to go nuts on me. I'm telling you, I think it was like the only A I got at Seton Hall. But like things like that, my per diem on the bus, I always got it late, blah, blah, blah. We laugh about it now. But,
of course. Yeah.
No, but at the time, I used to get really pissed,
That's hilarious because the way he told us, Dan, he said you were getting fancy. He said you held the book in the left hand and signed with your right hand.
Yeah,
then you switched to your right hand and signed with your left hand. And the lady said, okay, hold up, go outside.
Well, what happened was I did the lefty because I was working. I always wanted to improve my hand speed.
You're ambidextrous is what you're saying.
And I was really good lefty. Everybody thought I was lefty. So when I switched the book, the lady freaked out. She was like, what are you doing? And I said, I taught myself how to do lefty. That's when, thank God I got an A. But
that's awesome. That's great. I mean, and we when we get together, we laugh like hell over the Raftery stories. Tell a couple of these. Tell the steak story.
Well, what happened was, we were up in Providence, and we, all right, you got to be in by 10, blah, blah, blah. So Maddie Pickenich and I got arrested. So Maddie was my best friend. We were in the backcourt together, high school, won a state championship, went to Seton Hall, roommates. So they go, I said to the lady in the front, where's, Italian section, what's the best Italian restaurant? You got to go to this place. So we're like, okay. So Maddie and I go. We probably got like $20, $40 together. Go to this place, really fancy, really nice. We order like a salad, we split it. We get an entree, we split it. Get a glass of wine each, split it, you know. And then all of a sudden, Gavitt walks in, Raph walks in, Richie Regan, all the Seton Hall people, the Providence. It's like 40, 50 people walk in, and we're like the only person in there. So Raph looks at me with that look, like get the hell out of here, look. So all of a sudden, the waiter comes over and says, "Oh, that big party over there is going to wants to pay for your bill." So Maddie was Hudson County, 100%. He's like, "No problem." He's like, "Can we see the menus again?"
Get the menu back.
So we get the menus, 2 steaks, another bottle of wine, fast as you can bring it, blah, blah, blah. Now they're settling down and they're getting it together. Steaks come out, we're throwing down. We're like drinking as fast as we could. Raph walks over. "Now, put the fork, now, drop everything." Coach. I was like, "Coach." And I always push them to the limit a little. Coach, come on, I'm starving, Coach. Please, big game tomorrow. You don't leave right now. Both of you guys are not playing tomorrow. Maddie's like eating as fast as we can. Get out, pays the bill. One of those stories, Raph was, and I have a million of those because I don't know why I was always in the middle of them, you know.
Oh, can't figure that out, right, Danny? Come on, man.
That's a shocker.
Yeah, right. Shocker.
Oh my God. But I got to tell you, the saddest thing for me was like, it took me like 3 years to really like, because he was always in my face, probably pushing me, making me a better person and player, which he did. But so he comes to practice one day and he's like, "Yeah, you know, my senior year, 82." And he's like, "You know, I'm leaving." I go, "Where you going?" I go, I'll transfer. Where you going?" He goes, No, I'm leaving. I'm going to this place. I have this conference coming up tomorrow. So everybody's like, you know, we had the whole team back from last year. We had a good year, junior year. So I go to the conference. I was like crying my eyes out. And I'm like, it just took like here after 3 years, I just started liking the guy. And now he's leaving. And you know, conference is over. He's like, "Danny, don't worry about it. I'll be in your life, blah, blah, blah." So I said, "Coach, what are you doing? Where are you going?" He's like, "This place, this service, it's 24-hour sports." I'm like, "Coach, 24-hour sports?" Now you gotta remember, this is 1982, right? It was, you know, 5 stations. And I said, what is the name of this company?" He's like, "It's called ESPN." I go, "Coach, it's never going to work. It's never going to work." And I'm like,
Yeah.
Thank God he didn't listen to me, you know. But
Wow.
and then the first game he had, I walked over him. Doing a lot. It was at Walsh, and I'm doing a lot. I go, "Coach, you know what the hell you're doing? You're gonna do this or what?" He's like, "Danny, I got it." So I think we played somebody. I hit the shot at the buzzer, and we were running out back into the locker room. I gave him a kiss. And then he came into the locker room. They got so emotional. You know, Raph really, like, I was like my dad, really cried, really got emotional. But when he does, it's like that function. I gave him a trophy. And it was like, you see somebody that was in your face 40 years ago, right? And now you see him, you know, an older gentleman. And it kind of makes me feel I went to the right place, you know?
Yeah, I can, you know, listen, I can verify everything that you're saying about the guy because he's been around the Villanova program for forever. Him and Rolly were fast friends. They didn't start out that way, as we were told about the coaches' meetings and stuff. Matter of fact, Dave Gavitt put them in the same golf cart because they kept arguing with each other. And from that point on, they became great friends. And whenever we visited Coach Mass down in Florida, he was always there. He lived down the block from Coach, and he was always there hanging out with us. So he knew our guys from the '85 team, like he knew you guys that played, you know. And he's ever since.
My sister-in-law is flying up to. I was in dental school in Buffalo, so my sister-in-law is flying up to see her sister. She gets on the plane and she's sitting next to Raph.
Oh wow!
And they start talking like, "What are you doing?" "Yeah, I commentate on basketball." "Oh, my brother-in-law played basketball." "Where is he?" "I played at Syracuse." Next thing you know, they have this conversation, and Raph's got a whole like cheese and crackers layout that he brought with him. The two of them are having wine, cheese, and crackers. I'm like, that's pretty good, huh? Okay, huh, Chris?
That's Raph.
Raph is rare. It's, you know, like I always say, you meet maybe 5 people on the planet that are kind, nice, smart, good person, and that's him. I got to
Yeah.
be.
I've never heard a bad word about him from anybody.
Yeah, he told me that.
Hard to believe.
I used to go nuts on people, which I still do in a way, but he'd be like, "Nah, Dan, benefit of the doubt. Someone's going through something," which I would even tell my kids, "Hey, you don't know what he's going through, she's going through, who has a mother, who has a father, blah blah blah." But Raph, he had that like instilled in him, which was rare.
Yeah, but he leaned on you though. You said, right?
Yeah,
Which is fascinating. He must have known.
It was funny because he always went nuts on me. You miss a shot, they call a timeout. He doesn't yell at you. I'm the last guy running off. He stops me. Hey, the last play. I go, that guy just missed the shot. You yell at him. Don't be a wise ass. He was always called, "You're a wise ass, Callandrillo." I'm like, I couldn't understand. I used to go get so mad, and then I used to get a couple tees. And back then, no player called a timeout, right, or got a tee, and he used to go ballistic. Like it didn't stop.
Yeah.
Game was over. He would go in the shower. Okay, coach, I got you. Okay, boom, I'm walking out. Same thing. He would come into the dorm. Hey, he must have had a couple of beers because by that time he calmed down. But and you know what? And I always told him I needed it. I deserved it. But coming from where I came from, you didn't get that. You know what I'm saying? Other than from your parents.
Right. You gave him some of those gray hairs, is what you're saying, probably. Because I did the same for Mass. I know that for a fact.
I gave him a lot. Trust me.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I'll say this, Danny. When we ran into him at the Big East Media Day and mentioned your name, his whole facial expression changed. Right, Sonny? The smile that came over his face. I mean, he definitely loves you. He's that kind of guy. He was. All he said was great stuff. So
until we told him Until it told him we had to pay for the bill for dinner, then all of a sudden his body language went back.
Yeah. He's, I've been out with him a few times too, man. And listen, he goes late into the night, bro. I mean, holy cow. I mean,
I can't hang with him. I can't hang with
him. When I was on Wall Street, Danny, you have anybody in LA? Yeah, I used to go out there. That's how I met Ben Howland, Green, and Marquette because of rap. But half of the time, Coach, I got to check into the hotel. Nah, just drop your bags over there. There was times that we just went from the restaurant, pick up my bags, and fly. I go, Coach, I got to trade all day. Nah, you're okay, kid. Suck it up. You're okay.
You're okay.
You got to keep up with the old man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, which was hard. Trust me, it was hard. It wasn't easy.
Some of the best times we've had, Dan, is Brian Harrington, a teammate of mine on the 85 team, had and he still does. He has a charity that he works with that he's developed. He owns it, called Each One Counts, and it's about children with having hospice for children and stuff. And it's not so they just drug the kids when it's different things. You can have a dog, or you can go swimming and yoga, music, whatever soothes them. During last moments. It's terrible. But we had he has a golf outing every year. So Massimino was there, Jay Wright was there, Tommy Pecora was there, of course Raph was there, and Mike Fratello was there.
Oh wow.
And so Rolly says, where you going, Everson? And I said, I'm going home. It's 10 o'clock, Coach. He goes, no. I told the guy in the kitchen to put the pot on. You're staying. I said, okay. So we're sitting at a table listening to those guys tell stories one after another. Brian and I just shut up and stayed out of the way. And these guys went on for, I don't think we left there until 1:30 in the morning, and I had to go back. But between him and Fratella going back and forth, man, it was awesome, just to hear those guys. And once they get on a roll, you could be there forever listening to them. It never got boring,
Oh, and you got to have the wine flowing and all of this.
Oh, the wine. Yeah, that goes without saying. You know that, Danny. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit with you. All right. So during your Wall Street days, you used to go and you still played at this point, right? You're playing pickup.
Yeah. I was.
You played for a long time. You and I have talked about this a couple of times. And one of our good buddies here that we've developed over the course of the show is the great defensive player from Georgetown, Gene Smith. Okay. So Gene and I and Sonny are pals, and we talk all the time. Tell me what happened to Gene Smith when you walk in. First of all, tell Sonny your foursome that used to go down to the New York Athletic Club with, and what happened to Gene Smith.
Well, Kelly Trafuca and I are good friends, and Corin, Spinarco. We all, we were all Hudson County, and then Chris. Chris Mullen, he used to pop in like, Danny, I'm coming down. I'm like, yeah, just dude, this
Michael Corin, Spinarco, those guys.
It was
right?
It was a who's who. Like, and everybody used to get pissed off, like, because at the DAC, it was a rare place. You go in, if you're the next guy, you could pick for whoever. Like, it's not like, okay, we were all waiting. So when I used to get down, that Kelly was there or Corin was there. The one time, Chris and I see Gene. Now, Georgetown, not was hated back then, but because they were so good.
Right.
He used to try to cut, and I was pissing vinegar back then. I was like this guy, and I never used to cover him. I covered them, but I just let him shoot. I'm like, dude, you can't shoot. But he was phenomenal defense, right? So I go to the DAC. I'm like, dude, I'm going to kill this guy. I'm going to just destroy him. They're like, nah, Danny, it's cool. I go, no, it's not cool. This guy is from Georgetown. If I had Ewing, I would have won.
It's not cool.
I would have won. I would have won everything with Ewing. Forget it. Sleepy Floyd, Ewing, Doran. It was like a who's who. Like pros. He gets out there, hey Danny. I go, yeah, I'm good, dude. I'm and he tries to pick me up full court. I went nuts. And when I was picking up full court. Chris was like, Danny, chill out. It's like 6 o'clock at night, and I traded all day. I didn't care. I'm like Georgetown, Ewing. It all came back.
You got a flashback.
And then after, we won a couple, he won a couple. We went down for a drink. He's like, dude, you're so competitive. I go, Gene, let me tell you something. I'll never forget that team. We had them beat at Seton Hall. Had them beat. Sleepy Floyd hit like a shot over me downtown. Like, we lost 62-61. It was a blizzard. And then we went down there, and we were down by, I think, 40 with Ewing pressing the ball. And Hottie was the coach. I called the timeout. I said, Coach, I think I blew my knee out. He goes, get the hell back in. he goes, don't even try that. Get back in there. So I had all of this coming back, and I'm like, Gene, I'm not losing against you at the DAC, which means nothing, It's funny.
Well, it's funny because you and I were getting an adult beverage somewhere, and we're getting into all these different things that we're talking about now. You remember this, Dan?
Yeah.
So Sonny, Danny says to me, he goes, I had 38 on Gene Smith. He wasn't that good. I dropped 38 on him. I said, I'm going to call bullshit here, Danny. I'm calling bullshit. I'm calling Gene Smith right now. I said, I don't buy that because he was too good defensively. So we called Gene, and naturally, Gene does not answer the phone. And Danny goes, give me the phone. He goes, Gene, it's Callandrillo. Tell Everson I dropped 38 on you, will you? And he's trying to defend your honor. Just tell him, hey. So I get a text from Gene, and I'm standing up for Gene. Gene's our guy, right, Sonny? I'm standing up for Gene. I'm defending him. I'm telling Danny, no way, no how. And Gene texts me, yeah, I'm not picking up. I'm not calling you guys. Callandrillo was right. That's all I'm going to say. He got 30. He might have had 40, I said, okay, all right. So much for me defending you then, Gene. I was trying to defend your honor, pal,
That was funny.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a million of those types of stories, Danny, right? When playing pickup down there. I mean, those runs had to be crazy, right?
I was playing one time, and the guy was really good. He played at Iona. If you say his name, he was older than me. And his cousin was, I used to go at him, Boston College. The guard.
McCready?
No, the little point guard. He was
Mike Adams?
Bagley?
Bags.
Bagley.
Oh, he was.
Bags and I became friends. We used to go at it. I mean, the last game at Seton Hall, I did have 38. He had like 40. We lost. That was the first game my dad ever saw me play, and he was pissed that we lost. But this guy, I'm at the DAC, and he's like, Danny, my cousin, he's really good. I said, who's your cousin? John Bagley. I said, let's call him. I called him. I said, you're John Bagley? I go, yeah, my friend, and I was just playing this off. I said, my friend went to Seton Hall, Callandrillo. He said, you suck. He's like, what? Callandrillo, you give me that guy's number. He's like, and I said, John, it's me. It's Danny. Danny, where you at? We got to get together. The Big East. Like, it was such cool. Like, but back then, like you guys, everybody was so competitive, right? You get older and you just think of the fond memories, you know?
Mm-hmm. And that's the funnest thing about doing this, Danny. I mean, listen, everybody wanted to kill each other, especially if you wore that gray and blue jersey that Georgetown wore.
Totally.
Everybody was after them. And turns out, we laughed the hardest with those guys. It's really incredible. Those guys are such good guys. I was always close with the St. John's guys and the Syracuse guys. Never did I even talk to any of the Georgetown guys, and now I talk to them all the time. It's really unbelievable,
That's good. Yeah, they were great players. They were a great team. They were hated because they were good.
Well, explain to everybody at home, because, here's the thing, too. When you see Duke and North Carolina, Duke is never, if you're a fan of Duke, you will never root for North Carolina. If you're a Duke player, you will never root for even if North Carolina is playing Villanova, they're rooting for us, In the Big East, it is totally different. So if Seton Hall's playing against Colorado or wherever, right? Or pick a team, North Carolina, we're rooting for Seton Hall to win because they're our guys from our conference. It was a whole different mindset. Talk about that.
Yeah, I think what happened was you got to know a lot of guys. I traveled with the Big East through Europe when I was in college. You get to know guys. You're in the city playing, and you became, friends. Look, my mentality was like Raf used to say this all the time: be the best you can possibly be. Someone beat you, they're better than you, right? So that was my mentality. The way I trained, the way I worked out, blah blah blah. But I think I was like, hey, I covered Chris Mullin. I was like, dude, the guy's unbelievable, right? He had to cover me too. But
yeah,
we talked about this, Chris and I. Like, I admired him and Eddie Pickney, and I played with what's his name? I was telling you the story from Villanova. Alex Bradley. Alex and I were tight, but when we were playing, they were pissing me off. They were so good. Like Seton Hall really, I don't know, was on the cusp of like, how did we get into the Big East? But then, fast forward, we beat these teams here and there. But I think you had a respect for the team. Like my son went to Providence. We go to a game. I'm like, hopefully they do well. Hopefully, I'm room for Seton Hall. But they're a Big East team, right? It's not like, oh, I hate that team.
Yeah.
I hate this team. I wasn't raised that way. And I think in basketball, I think you have respect for your opponent. You lose, I always tell kids I coach, you lose together, you win together, but if you lose, you have character. Like Raf told me that you're not going to go, and even if you win, you're not running around, you're just respectful,
Yeah, it's a great point. That's exactly the way it was and it is still. So
Andre Hopkins used to say, respect is earned, respect is not given.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
He said that when we were freshmen. I was like, got it, Hawk.
Yeah, you lost the game, you still shake hands. And I was more pissed off, to be frank, like my own performance and the team. But if the dude scored 40 on me, I was like, what, I got to get better defensively. I wasn't mad at the guy. I respected the guy. But I think today it's totally different. There's that foundation of, sports and parents going crazy. It's out of control. I tell kids, my dad saw me one time. And I was like an All-American. I'm like, dude, like parents and filming, they're in the face. It's out of control now. It really is.
It's a different world for sure, Danny, right? When it comes to that stuff. Everybody thinks they're going to the league.
Right.
But Danny, we played against some great competition. How does it feel now, like this honor at St. John's, at Seton Hall, this honor that Seton Hall is giving you, it's got to be extra special.
Yeah.
First of all, it's the Legends
Legends Club.
So he's being named as a Seton Hall legend, as if he needed to have a title. Now everybody knows. Eddie Pinkney called me when they announced this. Eddie Pinkney called me, and you mentioned Ed a minute ago, right? Eddie calls me, goes, Chuck, you're having Danny on the show? I said, yeah, he's been on. He goes, do you know how good he was? Do you know how I said, yeah, I said, yeah, we spoke.
Wait. We're professional journalists. We do our
Of
homework.
course. I said, listen, Sonny, you know my sources, right? I've told you about that before. I asked Danny. He told me how good he was. I didn't have to go far. So Dan, talk about this award or a status, or I'm not even sure. Isn't it? I guess it's an award, right? So talk about that, and how did they approach you with that, and what because the other two people that are going to be down the road. I guess they're doing three of them. Mark Bryant is one too, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And,
Jody Brooks.
listen, honestly, no BS here. I mean, you two guys changed the program.
Changed the program, yeah.
You started it, and Mark got it over the hump. So talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, it was funny because they called me. I did a commercial for them, and it was like I don't know, maybe a month ago on a Friday. So I went out there, and I'm like, "What is the commercial?" Blah blah blah. It was Shaheen's thing is like determination, dedication, and I don't know, 3Ds, whatever. So
yeah, 3Ds. Yeah.
Yeah, the 3Ds. Yep.
And I do the commercial. I don't know. I saw what's his name, the 7'2" guy. He graduated like 2-3 years ago. What a great guy too. He's always at the games. He did a commercial. We're talking. So then, they pulled me aside. Nico and Brian felt like, Danny, we're doing this new thing, legends, something. I go, okay. What do you want me to do with it? They go, no, we're gonna honor you. You're the first one. I said, look, I'm not dying. I don't have cancer. So, I'm healthy. I appreciate it, but you don't have to do that. Thanks. I prefer to be in the background. Like, no. You, Mark Bryant, and Jody Brooks. I remember Jody. She was good. She was
yeah.
But and to be frank, like I didn't even know what I'm going tomorrow. They're going to fill me in because I got like a lot of people going. You're going, Chuck, right?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, December 8th. So I was like, do I talk? Is it before the game? Do I stand up and wave? Because my kids are coming. It's going to be, it is. Seton Hall has been really good to me, to be frank, like a lot of things on the side, which they are with a lot of players, probably like Villanova, Syracuse, which is nice. Like I don't want anything. I don't need anything. But, you look back and, I look at, playing there and Raf, it was the start of the Big East. I mean, I never forget. I was in the summer. I had the key to Walsh. I was there every day. I lived on campus. I had spots where I wanted to shoot the ball. And Raf came in, 1980, we're going into this new conference. I said, Coach, we can't even beat Fordham. Can't even beat Iona. Who's in this conference? Syracuse, Villanova. I go, Coach, that's crazy. How are we going to compete with them? Well, we got to train harder, blah, blah, blah. And I think it was the greatest thing that they did, Richie Regan and Raf. They really pushed for it hard. And to be honored, it's nice. I think I'm not into that, Chuck. I'm not into.
Yeah.
I'd rather have a beer with my friends and chill out a little. But I will find out more tomorrow because I do have like 150 people coming. So I got my team, I coach, teachers I coach with, ex-players, all the guys I played basketball with down the shore. All of them know you. So I think it's going to be a good thing. It's an emotional thing for me, and I don't want to go down that road. It's, my mother, my father. I only got 3 sisters left, so my kids are going to be there. So it should be a good day. I'd rather just go and watch the game.
Yeah, well, listen, and rightly deserved, Danny. I mean, come on, and I know you're a humble guy, and I tease you a little bit, about asking you. I'm so of course, but I have to break your chops a little bit, that. So, yeah, I mean, rightly deserved. I mean, people talk about you, and again, when we started the show, we said there was 4 people that everybody asked about, and you were one of those guys. So. That says a lot right there. I mean, people that are not Seton Hall people were asking, "Hey, can you get Callandrillo on?" So, we appreciate you, and as they do in New Jersey over there at Seton Hall. So that's awesome. Congratulations!
I appreciate that.
Congrats. This is great.
Thanks.
So yeah. So it's it's nice too. And listen, I've been to games with you over there. What's cool is you got guys from different generations that show up, and you guys all hang out together. I think Terry DeHare was there when I was there with you, and a couple other guys that were there that played, and everybody's hanging out. You guys are all. It's very similar to what goes on at Villanova. As far as that stuff goes. Talk about how important that is to the program that the guys come back.
Connections. Yeah.
The connections. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, I would say probably, over like 10 years ago, I went here and there, but I was so busy with Wall Street, my kids, 4 boys, blah, blah, blah. But then they started, reaching out, hey, Dan, you want to come to a game? I'm like, yeah, sure, And then, as I got older, my kids got older and I had more time, I was like, you know what? And I love the games. It's right. Like you see Glenn Mosley and Tynes there, you see, Mark Bryan, or you see an ex-player, or, like when we play UConn, I'm always having a drink with, Mr. Hurley, which is cool. So I think Seton Hall, and I said this the other day to somebody, they really, really do a great job, probably like Syracuse and Villanova, where getting the ex-players back, acknowledging them, getting them to have a drink with, certain teams and getting to know the kids. And I just go to have fun. Like I go, you saw what we do. You eat a little, you drink a little, you talk to some people. And, it's funny because you'll see somebody else say to you probably, oh, I was in your history class. And I'm like, history class? Like, really, it's like 40 some years ago. And I always go back to say, oh, I've been on this planet. I'm 64, that long, And then you see Mosley, Glenn Mosley, when he signed with the Sixers, Raph was recruiting me. I never forgot it. I went to Seton Hall, and I knew who he led the nation in rebounding that year. He had a Mercedes, and he's like, Danny, I want to take you out. I was like, no, that's okay. No. Him and Greg Tynes took me out. We went to dinner, had drinks, dropped me back off at Seton Hall. I was like, what a nice guy. Like, didn't have to do that. He was the first pick with the Sixers. And to this day, I see him at most of the games I go to. Him and I are talking, and we have fun. It's like tomorrow is a great day for me. I'm taking like a young team. Kids don't even know what the Prue Center is. Like they don't.
Yeah, that's special.
Right.
Yeah, like I buy kids, and I hate to even say it, shoes and jackets, because the school principal was like, and the AD was like, Danny, don't do that. I said, when I was in Hudson County, it was a blizzard. I had no shoes, no this, no that, and they were like, tomorrow we'll get you this. So I'm reciprocating to a sport that changed my life.
100%.
And to a university that I tell them all the time, whatever you want me to do, I'll go here, I'll talk here. It's a nice thing to do because I see people doing it in other sports, and it's kind, it's nice. Like you just said, Brian Harrington. I know Brian. Brian played when I was in Italy. I came back in the summers. Brian and I were the same team. Great guy. And, you hear stuff like that, helping kids, which, it's a nice thing. And I think Seton Hall does a really, really good job now with, hey, you coming today? You're going to be there tomorrow. They're calling you, which never really happened before. So
right,
yeah,
it's a good thing. So, Dan, I'm going to ask you, give us one last Coach Raff story.
There's really a lot of them, but the funniest one, I think. So I called him, where are you? He's like, I'm in Kentucky somebody. I'm like, I'm going to Miami. I had 10 customers. I'm staying at the Delano. My friend ran the Delano Hotel. He's like, oh, I got the Kentucky. Then I'm doing the Nets Miami Heat. I go, Coach, yeah, that was Friday. I said, just call me Saturday. We'll get together. So we go out Friday, all the customers, blah, blah, blah. Saturday comes around. He calls me, hey, the Delano. I go, yeah, the Delano. It's right in Miami. Comes in. Oh, here's Raff. So he's like, hey, I got a shower. I go, okay, here's, go upstairs. It's my room. Go shower. Shower comes back. All right, where we going? What we doing? He's introducing himself to everybody. So we went out big time. Like I had Mark Bavaro, Phil McConkey, the Giants.
Oh, wow.
Who's who. We had Tommy Hilfiger comes over. I couldn't believe it was Tommy Hilfiger. He was like 4'2". I go, you're Tommy.
Exactly.
I said to him, I want to see your ID. And he had a monster. He had Chuck, a guy your side. He's Tommy Hilfiger. I said, I want to see ID. And all he wanted to meet was Mark Bavaro and Bill Raff. Everybody else who could care less. I said, okay. So I go, Mark, Raff, this guy is Tommy Hilfiger. Raff's like, come on, you're Tommy. Well, it was. And he's like, oh, I just want to invite you guys to my party tonight. And Mark's like, talk about humble. Mark was like, nah, we're good. I go, no, we're going. Where is this place? So we go all night. Raff's calling people. Yeah, just mention my name at the door. I go, Coach, this is a private party. So all his friends from who knows where, we go out, go back to the Delano, 4 a.m. All right, we're closing up. And he's like, no. I need a case of wine. I need this. I go, Coach, it's 4 a.m. Nah, it's good, Dan. It's good. So all these people, all 5 a.m. now, right? Next day, Sunday. I go, Coach, I'm going to mass. I'm going to get up. Yeah, me too. Yeah, okay. So I said, Coach, I'll call you a cab. He's like, no. I'm staying with you. I go, Coach, I love you, man. But that's weird. And I thank God I had 2 beds. We go in there, and he takes out all his notes. The lights are on. He's calling Joan. Hey, Joan, I'm with Danny. And I'm exhausted. I drank way too much. And he's doing all his notes on Miami and the Nets. I go, Coach, this is what you do? Oh, Danny, you got to know where you're from and what high school you went to, blah, blah, blah. So we didn't sleep. Get up, coffee, go to church, come back. He sees, I never forget it, Jane Pauley, Katie Couric, and the other woman from Good Morning America. Raph, how you doing? What's going on? Come over. Let's have some drinks. I was like, Coach, my eyes are burning, man. I go, I am so tired. No, Dan. We go over there, Bellinis and drinking and laughing. And Coach is like, okay, Dan, I'll see you tonight. So I didn't know what to do. Like I was just with like 3 women that I admired, I loved. They were great. Oh, Danny, hang with us. We're going to the pool. We're going. And I was like, oh my God. Then I saw Raph. I said, I'm not going anywhere with you tonight. Like you're going home. Go home. Like, oh my God. But now I look back, I cherish those days. We had so much fun.
That's hilarious. I've never heard that one. That's a good one, man. And what a great way.
You gotta go to the bullpen there. Give me the lefty.
Yeah, right. Bring Mariano in for the save, man. Holy cow.
I get a sub.
Yeah. Give him the fist, Danny. I'm out. They got to take me out, bro.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. You just can't say no to Raph at 2.
No, I know. I've been there. Not that deep, but I've been deep enough. Believe me, I know. So, well, what a great way to end this today, man. Thanks so much for coming out and hanging with us for a little bit this afternoon. I appreciate it as always, and I can't wait to see you on the 8th. Congratulations on that honor. I can't wait to be there to support you. And that's going to be a lot of fun. So
I appreciate it. You guys are the best. And Sonny and Chuck, you guys do a great job. I got to tell you, I send this out to everybody. They love it. And yeah, I'll be talking to you during the week about the affair. So
we'll do. Hang for a second. I'm going to wrap this up.
All right.
So you've been listening to the Big East Rewind with Chuck Everson and Sonny Sparrow. The Big East Rewind is produced and directed by Nick Chico Chorus and Daryl Gurney. Check us out on the Sirius XM app and on YouTube and wherever else you get your podcasts. Thanks for joining us today. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Danny.
Have a good one. You're welcome.